Live, breaking news from News Channel 3.
All right, welcome back. 7 o'clock straight up on News Channel 3. We are looking at a live picture in the hills above Montecito. Our camera location is in the Upper Village, looking up into the foothills. 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, it was really quiet up there. Mostly you saw smoke, very little flame. And just in the last 10 minutes, the winds have switched. It's flared up, and folks are waking up to this image.
We're going to go out now to senior reporter John Palmentary. And John, we do see this large flare-up now, much larger than the one we saw earlier. Crews anticipated this. They knew the winds were going to kick up. Tell us how far across you're seeing it spread now.
So we have seen quite a bit in the last 30 minutes, and it's a dynamic change between the weather we saw then and now. This cloud of smoke has gone to about 4 or 5 times the size that we saw it about a half an hour ago. The mid-slope hill, they are maybe about a third of the way down, started catching on fire about 10 minutes ago, and now we have about 10 or 12 very visible flame fronts, multiple times bigger than what we saw at 4:30 this morning when we got here. There was just a small pocket of glowing flames, and it was a concern at that time, but it was just hanging out up there in the canyon. But in the last half hour, it has awakened, and it is throwing smoke and flames and embers throughout those canyons up there in the hills above Montecito, unlike anything residents here have ever seen in recent years. And everyone's on edge and very concerned about what the potential is.
Yeah, you got to think that they're going to start going and knocking on some doors if people are still in here. The flames are moving down this hill very fast, and the wind's very strong as well. We're getting blown around, and there's dirt being flown up everywhere. Look at the spinning inside that cloud of smoke up there. It's getting very intense. We're on East Mountain Drive, just north of Westmont College. We know that the T-fire has affected this area in years past, and now it looks like it's burning once again. Huge flame lengths right now. We saw several engines driving up this hill. Very dangerous situation for them. We know these roads back here are very thin and very small area to move through, but these guys are going up there. I'm not sure what they'll be able to do, though. The winds are so strong. I don't know how close they can get, but we're literally seeing the fire churning through these hills, and all that dry brush up there, even though it may be a burn scar area, all that's still going to go up when you have this much wind. And kind of, if we can pull out a little bit and just kind of show perspective of where the wind is pushing everything, the fire is literally, as you see those little fire nados there, the wind is being pushed, pushing all this smoke right over Montecito and into Santa Barbara. If you're standing near Stearns Wharf right now, we drove by there on the freeway coming this way, it's almost dark. It's almost nighttime outside.
So we're here on Ashley Road, and we're in the Montecito area. We just pulled up here, and we've got active fire over the horizon here on Ashley Road, and wind gusts are now no doubt in excess of 30 miles an hour. Look at these eucalyptus trees whipping around with ash and hot embers, and we've got a fire crew that is going to be going up in the 800 block of Ashley Road. Actually, engine 26 is probably going to back up into this area right before us. Our cameraman, Henry Galvan, was coming down this street and was able to see active fire up this road, flag down this fire crew. They put on the brakes, and they're backing up in here. The captain came over, inspected the fire, and now they're going to try and get this rig back up into Ashley Road and combat the leading edge of the fire. He told us, be careful, the fire's coming this way.
There's a good shot of it right there from our TV Hill Skycam, and you see the city in the foreground, State Street going from your screen from left to right, and then the wharf is to the right side of your screen. We had one of the crews talk about how the wharf was pretty much in a black hole with all that black smoke heading toward it. And there also gives you a good sense, too, of the wind direction coming right over those ridge tops. That wind hits the ridge top and then goes downhill, speeds up, and heats up.
Those of you just joining us, it is 8:30 now on a Saturday morning. This Thomas Fire's 259,000 acres. It is really blowing up right now in the Montecito foothills. The flames marching down toward the front country, deeper down in the front country, toward homes. Fire crews are prepared. They've got hundreds of engines staging. They have gone from an offensive to a defensive mode now with this fire. We do have crews near Mount Carmel who have just moved their location, also now toward Westmont. Seeing heavy flames, heavy smoke. We do know that the helicopters are in the air. Again, new mandatory evacuation areas in place now for Montecito and into the city of Santa Barbara.
Yeah, hi guys. We're going to get the very latest from Dave Zannaboni right now, Santa Barbara County Fire. You and I have been together for a week now.
We have.
This is the worst we've seen it.
By far the worst we've seen it in Santa Barbara County. Unfortunately, you can see what the winds are doing out here. These winds are real squirrely right now. They're coming down from the north, but they're really swirling around. It's really making a really tough time for our firefighters right now to get in here and do any good.
Now, we're about 2 miles or so away from the hillside that's on fire, maybe a little bit more. We're standing at Cold Springs School right now. It's on Cold Springs and Sycamore Canyon. These winds are just insane. Can you do anything when you get up there? Or you just gotta, it's scary.
You know, like I said earlier, we have hundreds of engines in here in place in a lot of these homes that are, being threatened right now. The fire activity is really just blowing really due south right now. It's just coming off the hill, and this north wind is just blowing it right down into the lower elevations of Montecito foothills. So, we have a lot of equipment in place already. We have more coming from staging areas and base camp, and we're going to get in here and we're going to do the best we can. We need a relief. We need some relief from the wind is what we need.
Yeah, Beth, that's right. We're driving along East Mountain Drive right now, and there's a lot of fire crews out here. We're kind of working our way around as we make our way through the area. Tons of crews sitting in driveways. As we've seen over the past week, they're trying their best to protect these homes. We know the flames are close. These guys are literally, look right there, sitting in the driveway. They're just trying to protect what they can and gearing up as well. They've been loading up with water. We've been watching them do that. We know the flames. Hold on, Connor, stop right there. So this gate, if we back up a little bit, this gate right here has been plowed down. That would indicate to me that possibly crews had to get up in there really quick. So that's something that we're going to continue to follow. Maybe we can park and you guys can come back to us in a little bit. We'll find out exactly what's going on up here at this address. Again, we're on East Mountain Drive, just off of Oak Creek Canyon Road.
Elise Martinez, who's standing by with the sheriff's official for the very latest update from that standpoint. Elise?
Beth and CJ, we're at the Sears parking lot, and this is where sheriffs, deputies, police, search and rescue are meeting, and they're sort of fanning out to those mandatory evacuation zones to go door to door to get people out. Now, we've been getting some calls into our newsroom about people who are concerned, and for good reason, about these evacuation zones. So we wanted to I have Commander Kelly Moore with me from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department. We're going to try to go over this map with you to clarify some of those issues for people who are concerned in the mandatory evacuation zones. So, Kelly, just let's do the best we can to sort of tell people where it stands right now.
So right now, the latest we got on the fire activity is up in MTO 3, which is north of Sycamore Canyon and up to Camino Cielo, which includes East Mountain Drive. We actually have fire below Mountain Drive into the Ashley Road area. So our biggest concerns right now are in the areas south of there, in the MTO 8, MTO 9, which is commonly referred to as the backside of the Riviera. So those areas are under mandatory, and we're going through, we're almost done with going door to door, but this is our next area of concern.
We'll get a break. So Ventura County getting a break today. Santa Barbara County supposed to get a break tomorrow as it picks back up in Ventura County.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you so much. We want to go back out now to our senior reporter, John Palmentary, with Captain David Zannaboni for the latest now on the situation. And John, exactly where are you right now?
So we're just down from the Tea Gardens. We're in the 300 block of Mountain Drive in the Montecito area, and we have gone by the Tea Gardens. There's active fire burning in there. Some of the trees are going up in flames as we speak, but we understood there were some structures around here that were threatened by fire, and Captain David Zannaboni with the Santa Barbara County Fire Department is on scene. And when you came through here a few minutes ago, did you see some structures that were the threat of going down in flames?
Yeah, we're like in the 300 block of East Mountain Drive, and yeah, we had several structures with fire all around them, and no engines in place, but right now we do have engines in place in all of those driveways.
All right, going to have us take a look over your shoulder and so we can see what we're talking about here. Now this has, I think, a lot of mailboxes at the end of the driveways. You have multiple structures up this driveway, don't you?
Yeah, you can see up in the foothills, there's just structures just, embedded into this, vegetation, into this urban interface is what we call it. And, I think we have structure protection engine in place in most of these driveways up there at this time.
When this got going in the 7 o'clock hour this morning, it was just plowing through like it was going to mow down. One captain said Ashley Road, that he said the whole thing's going to go up, get out of here. And now we've got some blue skies, we've had gusts of wind, we have calm. What's going on here?
It's crazy weather what we're experiencing now. I mean, you can see the smoke now it's coming up canyon. Mm-hmm. We have fire now moving up these drainages. And before it was just coming straight out of the north, pushing that fire south, straight into Montecito.
As a fire captain, how do you attack this and have safety?
Crews have had to pull out in many areas and then just go back in because it's been tough for these firefighters out here this morning.
I want to go back now live to News Channel 3's Joe Butita. And Joey, you're at the intersection there of Hot Springs and East Mountain Drive, where that area was very hard hit.
Yeah, Beth, CJ, looks like we have our first structure of today that we know of that has definitely burnt. I don't know what this was. It's kind of a big hole in the ground with beams that go across it. I'm sure the roof was up this direction, and it is all burnt up now as we take a look here. This is the 900 block of Hot Springs. We were seeing thick black smoke coming from this area. We also saw a firefighter who was in here when we pulled up. He said that there are multiple structures in this area where there are hot spots. Fire crews are at those locations. They're trying to do what they can to save the structures, the homes, those big mansions that are in the Montecito Hills. He says there's a lot of stuff that are those big properties. They have a lot of things that are out there, whether it's vegetation, gardens, just their furniture that's outside on the patios. And he said a lot of that has been catching on fire with these hot spots. We just had a big gust of wind. So that is not good. The wind's now shifting back as we kind of look at the big clouds up here, Connor. I don't know if you can see it. If we go up top, Connor, you can see the big cloud of smoke. And it's now blowing back downhill instead of uphill, which we saw just a few moments ago.
So we have this information on our website. We've got this map in our map room, and you can type in your address to see where you fall in these divided sections of these mandatory and voluntary evacuations. Elise Martinez is out with a Montecito resident who I think who lives near the Sycamore Canyon Cold Springs School
in a mandatory
area,
evacuation zone, and has decided not to evacuate, even though he is in an mandatory evacuation zone. Elise.
Yeah, Beth, CJ, we're on Dulzera Road in Montecito. This is under mandatory evacuation. That evacuation notice went out this morning around 6 a.m. We've been embedded with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office lieutenant who's been taking us through these mandatory evacuation areas. We've noticed that most people have evacuated. Most people have heeded that warning and they are out, with the exception of Peter Christensen. You've decided to stay and you're taking some pretty incredible measures to protect your home.
Yeah, we decided to stay to at least put up a fight until the flames are too bad. Then obviously I'll get out of here. But until then, felt like if it's not an extreme wind event, and it was more of a creeping fire, that we'd be able to fend off the embers with the pool pump we have here, and tamp down things as we have to.
And since we've been standing here, we've had helicopters overhead. I put on my glasses and my mask because it's pretty ashy, pretty smoky. We've got Westmont and Cold Springs behind us, Canyon area. So the winds, have been intense. When will you ultimately decide to go?
Probably when I see the flames about 3 houses over. That would probably, or if it's literally a wall of flames. If it's just blowing embers, though, that's the reason for being here, is to try to put out those embers as they're flying over your house and getting under your eaves or into your trees.
Okay, and just quickly, we just wanted to do a walk and talk quickly. Just explain, you've got your pool here and you've got this pump. Just tell us, what does this pump do?
It's a gas-powered pump. Pumps about 100 gallons a minute. So it takes the water out of the pool and then the blue hoses are for extinguishing. So we've got 200 feet of hose. You can reach all the corners of the lot. Then up on the roof, before 5 days ago actually, when we knew the fire was headed this way, cut pieces of sheet metal to cover all of our vents so that the embers can't get into the attic. And then we have clay pots to cover other types of vents up there. So if the fire were to come in, obviously I'd be wetting down the roof and taking care of any embers until it's too far gone.
Yeah, CJ, that's right. We're way up on Gibraltar Road. If you know it, it weaves back here, and we're getting a good look at the Thomas Fire as it makes its push farthest west. Look at the size of those flames deep in there, this black smoke just billowing up. One of the fire crews, the Forest Service guys, just drove by and said, you guys got to make sure you're on your toes because this thing, with the winds up here, which are very strong, it's blowing like crazy. It's going to come this way, he said, just in a matter of hours, it could be. We'll see. But we're getting a good look at it now. Down below, when we were in Montecito along East Mountain Drive, we couldn't see the flames. They were burning back in the canyon. Well, now we're getting a good look at it. It's still maybe two ridges away from us, but we are seeing those large flames. And as Dave Zanaboni told me probably a half hour ago, it's really churning back here, and the weather is very different. The wind so strong, it's really blowing us all over the place right now.
There are currently approximately 16,000 residents of the county who are under mandatory evacuation orders. And the mandatory evacuation areas, if you can reduce that map a little bit there, yeah, it's in this purple colored area here. And you can see a dark line, which is the hard line between the mandatory and the warning areas.
Hey guys, we're here at Viola Fields in Carpinteria, and you are watching a Santa Barbara County Sheriff Fire Air Support Unit helicopter. It's Copter 3. It's assigned to the incident. It's one of maybe 2 or 3 agencies in the state that fly at night. We've got an engineer, a firefighter, and a captain right there by the helicopter. They're taking that hose and they are loading between 250 and 350 gallons of water into this helicopter. These helicopters can fly at night because they have night vision. The water is coming from a hose that is connected to a hydrant. The hose is pushed through an Oxnard fire engine. It's attached to the intake of the fire engine, then goes through a discharge. The water flows through about 350 feet of hose, and those firefighters use hand signals once the chopper has landed to communicate with the pilot that what they're doing and when it is full and when that helicopter can take off. This is the 3rd time that this Copter 3 has landed here at Viola Fields in Carpinteria to get water, and then it's taking it over to the Thomas Fire. One of the firefighters told me that they believe that it's flying over Montecito tonight. We have not been able to confirm that. I have a call in with the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Department. It looks like the chopper has been filled up, and here it goes. We'll let you watch it take off, and then we'll talk to you more.
On the ground.
And look at the beginning of the video too here, coming up in a second. The fire shoots horizontally. I think it's right as the camera moves. You might get an idea of it. Let's see, right over here. Watch this. Did you see that? Yeah, right there. I mean, that's
all I know is I wouldn't
incredible.
want to be there.
No,
that's for sure.
Definitely not. And wow, this is what it looked like this morning, right? We think this is sometime earlier today, maybe this morning or early afternoon,
right,
when the winds were at their strongest.
So we saw some flames down below us and realized we needed to come lower. And there were firefighters dealing with, this was a pile of brush that went up, and a bunch of crews are watching it just down the road here. So we saw the road glowing and knew that it might be dangerous, so we came lower because you don't want to get stuck if this were to cross the road. But they are watching this closely. I asked them, it's not a structure, it's a pile, like a debris pile maybe from a property, but they are about 5 firefighters. Oh, and those embers, that's what's make it dangerous. So They've got all their protective gear on, and they are just making sure that it doesn't come to this road that we're on right now. But that's the kind of wind we're dealing with, CJ and Beth. And when you have those embers, that is the worst part, because those embers can fly into a home. They can go inside, someone's open vent, and a home can burn from the inside out. And we've seen that happen to our colleague, and I've seen it happen to friends' homes. And it's just something else. You don't want the embers to fly miles and miles from here and start other fires.
We're hearing Joey Batista is out on the scene near Gibraltar, right, where they're doing some drops. Those are already underway. Good morning, Joey. How are things looking out there?
Yeah, guys, good morning. We're up on Gibraltar Road right now in Santa Barbara, and down below is where the Thomas Fire continues to burn here. It's also burning in the backcountry, but we'll go ahead and show you what we're seeing is the smoke down in this canyon. Tough place to get to, but these water-dropping helicopters are coming in, and in a couple of moments, it'll turn the bend here. I can hear it making its way in as they're picking up more water. They just made 3 consecutive drops. There are at least 3 helicopters up here. They came in one after another, boom, 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 hitting this area. You also see the home there in the foreground. Got to be scary for the people that live right there. We do have some good news, though. There was somebody that texted us or Facebook messaged me on my Facebook page, and I just sent her a picture of her home up here. It is safe and sound, and it has a Caltruck fire engine sitting in the driveway. So those people I know were very concerned. All right, I hear the helicopters once again, and once we see them really turn the bend here, you're going to get a good look at these water drops as they come around. It's getting close. I can see just the tip of it right now. And he'll be, why don't we turn around, Connor? We'll try to follow him in. Here he comes, all the way over there. Just go quick. Don't worry about being steady with it. Just turn it around right there. Here they come, all the way in and around. They're going to drop in this canyon. It's amazing what these guys are able to do, because they'll literally get way deep into the canyon. They'll drop down below the peak level and then make these unbelievable water drops with those massive amounts of water in those buckets. And this is going to be a great shot, guys. You're going to love this. Obviously, the winds are calm, so they're able to do this. These helicopter pilots, a lot of them retired military guys that do it for really the fun of it. They love this stuff. You see him turn sideways there, and here he comes in, just ready to make the drop, and that water will be released down on the flames right below. And again, there are 2 more helicopters right behind him. There you see the release of that water. Just amazing stuff. Look how low he gets in that canyon. And just in the last 10 minutes we've been here watching them do this, the flames and the smoke has really decreased, so these are hugely successful.
All right, in a traffic alert this morning, Highway 154 will be closed indefinitely, except for you if you live over there and you have proof. You have to have your identification, your driver's license, allow the authorities there to know that you need to get to your home. But between Santa Barbara and the Santa Ynez Valley is where that closure is, and it's going to be crucial to accommodate hundreds of firefighting vehicles going between the fire lines. In just about 20 minutes, they're going to switch shifts, and they have to go between the fire lines and the base at Lake Cachuma. So during Friday's briefing, the CHP had said that there were drivers trying to pass this long convoy of engines and nearly caused a number of head-on collisions. Drivers were asked to avoid the 154 altogether and then use Highway 101 instead during the Thomas firefight.
And here are the exits closed this morning along the 101. Las Positas, Cabrillo, Olive Mill, Summerland, San Ysidro, Sheffield, and North Padaro Lane. A young firefighter receiving a special salute today after losing his life in the Thomas fire. 32-year-old Corey Iverson is father of a 2-year-old daughter. His wife is expecting another little girl soon. Iverson died while fighting the Thomas fire north of Fillmore Thursday. CAL FIRE confirms he was with a strike team of 2 or 3 others when he died. Fire officials say they're heartbroken.
All right, let's stay with Corey, though, and go to Alex Biston, who is live on the procession route. Alex.
Yeah, Stacy, the outpouring of support here. I'm on an overpass in Camarillo. The outpouring of support is immense here. I was talking to some people who just came out. They come with American flags. A lot of them telling me that they're going to have a hard time keeping a dry eye as the procession goes on. I'm going to step out of the frame here so you can see just how many people are here. We've got firefighters. We have people all around here. Now, 32-year-old Corey Iverson, this is going to be them honoring him, and he's going to be going from the medical examiner's office in Ventura to San Diego. That's where they will be transporting him, and it's going to start at 10 a.m. and will end at 2 p.m. The first leg will be through San Bernardino County. It looks like they're going to be starting here just in a few minutes. We have just dozens of firefighters out here, and as you can see, what they're doing right now is they're getting up on top of the truck, and they're going to be saluting him from on top of the truck. So that's looks like what they're doing now. I was listening to the fire chief earlier, just about 10 minutes ago, and they were kind of rehearsing what they were going to do as they take his body down the 101. So you can just kind of see, give you a live picture. We're going to keep on this so you guys can see what exactly is going on here. You can see them start to line up just on top of the truck. And like I said, dozens of people are out here taking photos. They have American flags kind of getting ready for the procession. We also hear honking. I'm sure you guys can hear it as well, but people driving by, seeing what's going on. And as my photographer and I were riding down the 101, almost every single overpass has people standing on top. So it just kind of shows how many people are out here to support Corey. And I spoke with the Santa Paula fire chief as well. He was telling me that he's just, you know, so proud of everybody coming out to support Corey today and all of the different fire agencies. And it really just shows, you know, these firefighters, they're all one. They all come from different cities, different states, but they are all one team. So we will keep it here and obviously keep this live shot going so you guys can get see them as they come down the 101 this morning. That'll just be in a few minutes. It's going to be starting at 10 a.m. That's the latest here. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Alex, just a quick question for you. What seems to be the morale like? You know, I see the firefighters moving behind you, and what's everyone's spirit like this morning?
Yeah, you know, I have to tell you, Danny, it's really uplifting. I almost, coming here, I have to just be honest, I started just to tear up a little bit. It is so emotional here, but, you know, it's a sad situation. But the thing is, there are so many different people here that are rallying together to see that. So the morale here, it's positive and it's heartwarming, and it's people coming together to support their fallen firefighters.
Okay, Alex, we definitely want to keep you on standby and definitely your live picture here for us, just so that people at home can appreciate the actual public that came out to stand out there for Corey. And as we turn back now to the hearse and the starting line of the procession, we see people are lined up. It looks like a lot of people have their heads bowed. I'm sure this is a moment of silence as they do begin to leave and start this procession. And as soon as it does begin, we of course will stop talking and allow for this to continue on its own. I think that there are certain times that we need say nothing to feel what is happening here for all of these firefighters who lost one of their own.